I want to describe a specific feeling. And if you're a coach doing somewhere between 25 to 50K a month, I think you're going to recognize it immediately. Some months you do 45K, some months you might hit like 20K, and your content looks like it's performing fine. You haven't changed your offer one bit, and you've got really killer testimonials on top of everything else. And there's no pattern or real explanation telling you why one month is great and then the next month isn't. And somehow underneath all of that, there's a quieter feeling that's even harder to admit. You've been doing this for years now. You are tired, and you're starting to wonder if this is just what it's going to be like forever. The countless hours, more unqualified calls, and lots of more content just to say in the same place. I've sat across from a lot of people exactly in this spot, and almost every single time when I actually go in and look at their business, the answer isn't what they expect. It's got nothing to do with the offer, the price, and not even the marketing. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what I look for when I audit a business like this, the actual questions that I ask, and the thing that I find broken almost every single time. If any part of what I just described sounds familiar, stay with me because this one is going to be useful. Now, here's the thing nobody tells you about being a coach at this level. The fact that your numbers are inconsistent isn't actually a random occurrence. There's actually a very good reason behind it. It's just usually invisible from the inside because you're too close to the source. So let me walk you through what I actually do when I sit down with somebody in this position, because the process itself tells you a lot about where the problem usually is. The first thing I ask is not about marketing, but it's about the numbers behind the numbers. For example, how many leads are actually coming in right now compared to a few months ago? And how many calls are getting booked? Of those, how many actually show up? Of the ones that show up, how many close? And this question catches most people off guard when I bring it up to them. Can you actually tell me those numbers right now off the top of your head? Most of the time, the answer is no. Not because the person is bad at their job. Maybe it's you, not saying you're bad at your job either, but it's because nobody's ever built anything to track those real numbers. They exist, but they're scattered across a calendar, a CRM, and nobody updates properly, or somebody's memory of how last month felt. But there is no single source or reliable source of truth. And that right there is usually the first sign of where the real issue is. From everything that I see, the problem always falls into one of three buckets: acquisition, conversions, or fulfillment. And each one feels completely different from the inside, even though they all show up as the same symptom with inconsistent revenue. So if it's acquisition, your calendar is just empty. You're not getting enough people even getting in front of you in the first place. That one's actually the easiest to diagnose because it's the most visible. If it's conversion, the calendar isn't empty. You're getting on calls, maybe the calls go fine, and people seem interested, and then they just go quiet. But you don't have any close, there's no objections you can even point to in the first place. There's just silence. And this one's the most frustrating because it feels personal, like something is wrong with you on the call, when almost always, most of the time, it's not. And if it's fulfillment, this is the one most people never even see coming. You're actually closing clients, you're getting them results, but the business doesn't have the capacity to take on more without something completely breaking or collapsing in on itself. More clients doesn't feel like growth to the business or to you. Really, it just feels like drowning. So every single time you try to hop on calls, it feels like there's an opportunity for you to actually lose more than you gain. So even though the offer is working, you start to unconsciously hold back from selling more because some part of you knows that you can't actually handle taking more. Here's what's wild. I've sat with people who've told me for years that their problem is acquisition, when the real issue was fulfillment the entire time. They just kept pouring money and energy into getting more leads for an offer the business literally couldn't deliver at scale. So even when the marketing worked, it made things worse and not better. And that's why I never start with marketing whatsoever. Not because the marketing doesn't matter, I mean, it absolutely does. But fixing marketing on top of a business that has an unidentified bottleneck somewhere else just means you're scaling the problem, not the business itself. And I want to say something else because I think it's important, and most people in this space won't say it whatsoever. A lot of the coaches I talk to in this exact position aren't just frustrated about money. There's something really deep underneath that initial frustration. They're tired in a way that's hard to explain to people outside of the space. They've been doing this for years. The leads keep coming in, the demands keep coming in, and there's a quiet fear that if they don't figure this out soon, something in their life outside of work is going to suffer for. Maybe that's time for their kids, maybe it's their relationship, the thing they actually started this business for, they won't be able to protect in the first place. And that is not a small thing. And honestly, it's usually the real reason somebody finally reaches out, and not because the spreadsheet looks bad, but because something underneath the spreadsheet itself does. The inconsistency isn't random, and it's not a sign that you're doing something wrong as a person. Rather, it's a sign that there's something specific, some kind of identifiable bottleneck somewhere in the business, acquisition, conversion, or fulfillment. And right now, you probably can't see which one it is because there's no system in place that would show it to you. And that's the actual starting point. It's not more content, it's not a new offer, it's just figuring out with real numbers which one of those three things is actually broken. If you've watched that and found yourself nodding along to one of those three, whether that's acquisition, conversion, or fulfillment, that's actually very useful information. That is a hell of a lot more clarity than the majority of people in your position have. In the last video, I broke down the entire system I use once that bottleneck is identified. The full backend build, how the funnel and the team get built on top of that, and a real client I took from $18K a month to over $440,000 in just 2.5 months, using this exact process. If you haven't watched that one yet, then that's the next place to go. The video should be somewhere on the screen right now. And if you're sitting there and you'd rather just talk it through, that's exactly what the call is for. You can book a call with me with the link in the description below. We'll go through your numbers together and figure out which of these three it actually is. But anyways, that is enough for me. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.